Good Monday evening. I'm Lawrence Sam, and this is Money for the Win. So today I'm going to talk about 4 essential books in my success library. Okay, I'm going to go over the titles, I'm going to go over what they share, and I'm going to go over how it impacted me. All right? So growing up, most of us were taught 2 important things about money: how to spend it and how to work for it. But what most of us weren't taught is how to make it work for us. And the consequences of that lack of financial literacy are hitting us hard today. 4 out of 5 Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. The average American household carries $38,000 in debt. Nearly 60% of Americans don't have $1,000 saved, set aside for emergencies. 40% of retirees are living only on their Social Security, which averages about $1,500 a month. And there's another 15% of retirees that don't even have that much. So over the past 3 decades, I followed kind of 2 parallel career paths. One as a cognitive behavioral therapist, and another as a personal finance entrepreneur. Over that time, I've learned a lot about people and money, both through my successes and my failures. But one of the most important things I learned was that money is a game. There are rules, there are winners, and there are losers. And I want you to money for the win. Okay, so I'd like to begin with an attitude of gratitude. I consider myself an employee entrepreneur. Okay, I have a full-time gig and then I have a side gig, and so that's kind of how I operate. But what my gratitude is towards actually taking time off completely to rest and recuperate. Okay, so if you're burning the candle at both ends from time to time, it's necessary. Now, if what you do mostly is just take it easy and relax, I'm going to say, hey, put a little bit of fire under you, okay? All right, so let me get into this success library. The very first book I want to introduce you to is The Automatic Millionaire by David Bach. So The Automatic Millionaire is a great book, okay, mostly because it's a very easy read. It's written in a very conversational way, and it uses an example of a couple who achieved financial independence very early in life, in their 50s. And he basically talks about how he learned from them, even though he was a financial planner. Something I found out over the course of my financial career is that a lot of people, even though they get degrees in finance or they went to business school, they really weren't taught personal finance. And so David Bach was an example of this. He went to school, he's a financial planner, and yet this 50-something-year-old couple is retiring early and was able to teach him about how they accomplished it. So the book goes on to kind of share their story and then pass on some very essential ideas about how to think and then what steps to actually take. Okay, so the paperback, this isn't the right version. I grabbed the wrong book, but there's an updated version that's more recent and it's expanded. So it's after, this is back in the 2000s, before the crisis. Let's see, this is dated 2004, okay? So before the collapse in 2008. And so he updated it, so I recommend it. It's a paperback, it's about $12 or $13. And it's a very easy read. It's not difficult in concept, takes about 2 to 3 hours. I think it puts someone in a very good position to start taking great action. All right. Okay, the next book I would like to recommend is called Multiple Streams of Income by Robert Allen. Now this book is also old. Okay, look, I'm going on 52. So I've read these books a couple times, but over the past decade, right? 2 decades. This is 2000. And Multiple Streams of Income, how to generate a lifetime of unlimited wealth. Now, I recommend this book not for the multiple streams of income, but for the kind of bookmark portions of the book that discuss personal finance. So he has a section, so there's I think 10 streams of income he discusses in the middle. But in the beginning and the end, he shares a lot about ways to think about money and your personal finance. And these are tremendous. Again, they kind of create this unconscious and success orientation that allowed me to start making choices and making decisions along the way that improve my situation. Okay? All right, now everybody mostly has heard of this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Okay, now Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the author is Robert Kiyosaki. This is a great book for truly changing our mindsets. He doesn't have a lot to say about what to do, how to achieve it, but really to understand what assets and liabilities are, what income and expenses, the way to think about success, the way to think about finances. And so one of the reasons why I recommend this very highly as one of the success library books to read is because I talk about financial literacy or illiteracy being such a hindrance. The way we think impacts strongly the choices that we make with our finances. Okay? So I think Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a great way to address the kind of wrong thinking and replace it with right thinking. All right, the last book I'm going to share is another Robert Kiyosaki book. Now, I want to warn you, I really only recommend these two books by him. He's a very successful author, and these two books are wonderful. I think he kind of went on to just kind of put this branding, the purple labeling, on a number of books written by other people, and just, created a brand with his name and sold a lot of books. But I really only I've purchased and read a lot of them, but I really talk about the importance of those two books. Okay, so I threw it down, but didn't really go into why it's important, right? So in Cash Flow Quadrant, he talks about just like I described in some of my previous videos, how money flows in and money flows out. Okay, so in this one, he talks a little bit about understanding how banks operate, how money is made, what assets are, and so forth. Now, the approach of money for the win is for the majority of people. I think common, everyday people who can achieve financial success if they just knew how. It doesn't take a lot. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to be a real estate tycoon. You can just have a job, be responsible with your finances, and achieve financial independence. So that's the focus. Now, there are those folks that are motivated to really break out, to really make it big. And so I kind of like use the tortoise and the hare story, right? The tortoise and the hare had a race. The hare is naturally fast, but because of that speed, kind of took it for granted and went off course and was playing around with other animals and went to the restaurant or just did all these things while the tortoise, aware of its kind of slow speed, stayed the course, consistent the whole time, and ended up winning the race instead of the rabbit, right? Now, what if the rabbit had done that same strategy? The rabbit would have won. So my recommendation is take the tortoise strategy to guarantee your outcomes. Okay, money for the win is about this guaranteed 20 to 40 year strategy of becoming a millionaire or multimillionaire. And the hare is about hitting a home run every time. Okay, and I'm not against that, but that's not what the focus of money for the win is. So if you think of it kind of like a pyramid, right? You have these foundations that we're going to build upon, and I'm going to cover that over the course of these episodes. At the top of that pyramid would be going all out for something else. But I would say you're a winner if you're able to achieve what we're going to talk about in that pyramid. Okay? So just to recap, Success Library of 4 books, Automatic Millionaire, Multiple Streams of Income, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Cash Flow Quadrant. They're all paperbacks except maybe Multiple Streams of Income, again, because of the age of the book. They're still worthwhile, still relevant. And what's most important when it comes to financial literacy is you improve yourself, the way you think and what you know. Don't be dogmatic about it. Don't even be dogmatic about what I share here on Money for the Win. Always take it into account, educate yourself, and deepen your understanding, your comprehension. And then look at your situation and see what works and what doesn't work. My dad likes to say, success is a moving target. And I agree. What works for me might not work for you. Exactly. The thing is, what works for me might not work for me all the time. So it's a moving target. You got to take into account, plan, do, review. Okay? Plan, do, and review. Plan your work, work your plan, then review the outcomes, and then plan your work again. Okay? So I really want to encourage you to take a look at all these videos, put together, I was reviewing them, right? Put together the ideas that are being shared. I've been building upon each video to share a concept. If you're not on the path to financial freedom, to financial independence, to being a millionaire, you can be. If you have a source of income and you're earning about average or slightly above average income, there is no reason you cannot have financial freedom and put in place a plan to be on track to being a millionaire or a multimillionaire. Okay? And part of that idea is that right here and right now, you can have an attitude of richness, that you can have an attitude of gratitude. And that goes into this idea that I say, I encourage you to be rich and enrich others, to benefit here and now and in the future, and to benefit others here and now and in the future. One way you can do that right now is by smashing that like button, okay? Like this, comment below. More importantly, subscribe. Come back. View these videos. View them for 10 minutes or more. Really allow the words to kind of sink in and start to get into your subconscious. I also want you to refer other people, share on your Facebook, share on your Instagram, whatever. Let other people know. It's a lot more fun to achieve financial success when your friends and family are too. Okay? So, as always, I'm Lawrence Sam. This is Money for the Win. And I encourage you to be rich and enrich others.